are some really incredible racetracks around the world, tracks that have witnessed epic battles between the greatest on 2 wheels and 4. But Ascari is not one of those tracks. What it is a vision of a wealthy Dutchman, Klaus Schwartz, who built this unbelievable ultimate test track in the foothills outside Ronda in Spain. Named after double F1 world champion Alberto Ascari, it is beautiful, but it is also pure adrenaline and drama, the ultimate test of man and machine. So it's quite significant that Mercedes-Benz have brought us here for the launch of the C-class coupé. Clearly they're very confident in its abilities.
And who wouldn't feel confident projecting such a face? The coupé is all bumps and bulges, and you almost expect to see a rippling muscle at any moment. The AMG is more than 60 millimeters wider, both front and rear, than the standard coupé, giving it a purposeful, athletic stance.
So we got to play in the top spec, the AMG C63S Coupé. You'll remember exact same performance figures, same engine, that 4-litre twin-turbo V8, 375 kilowatts, 700 newton meters. It's plenty. How is it going to handle what is a really dynamic track with plenty of off-camber turns? I was really impressed. The standard AMG obviously comes with a mechanical slip diff. We've got an electronic limited slip diff. In this one, it just reacts a little bit quicker. It gives the driver that much more time to respond and play and give you that much more control. It was really dynamic through here. And what you get when you go with the S is you get track options. So you get 5 driver modes, and that's what we were playing in the whole time. It is amazing. I think having driven the sedan around Zwartkops, it obviously feels a lot bigger dimension-wise. This feels a little bit more direct and more driver-focused and orientated, as it should be. Really good car around Ascari. And that soundtrack, wow. This is a motoring musical instrument, the AMG Performance Exhaust System. Literally all they've done is put in variable exhaust flaps to give it that unique sound. Obviously going to the new 4-litre twin-turbo V8, getting that engine note right was critical. And after hours and fiddling around with different sounds, they figured out the best way to do it was by putting in one additional exhaust flap in the middle of the branch. And that's given it that unbelievable sound. You're your own composer in the AMG.
Thanks to intelligent lightweight construction and the extensive use of aluminium, the coupé is considerably lighter than its predecessor. It's also much stronger and stiffer, which bodes well for this sort of driving.
Yeah, I'm still grinning. 700 newton meters, Ascari, so much fun. But we're going to head out from the racetrack now into the hills around Ronda, test driving another one of the coupés coming to South Africa, this being the C300.
Compared to its brutish sibling, the standard 2-door looks feminine and graceful, which is exactly how a coupé should look. The diamond grille, first seen on the A-Class, adds a welcome dash of glamour, and there are numerous visual similarities to the S-Class coupé, some intentional, others a happy coincidence.
So what is new on the C-Class coupé is a new 4-link front suspension. Essentially, what happens is your wheel suspension decouples from your spring strut. So it makes the car a lot more agile and dynamic in terms of its ability to corner. They've got a multi-link rear suspension and the setup works exceptionally well. I was quite hard-hitting at Mercedes-Benz with A-Class and B-Class, cars that I found were just far too brutal, choppy on the drive. And what they've done with Dynamic Drive Select, where you've got 5 modes from Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus and Individual, they've managed to widen that gap. So in Comfort, it's more comfortable. In Sport Plus, it's more sporty. And I think that is critical to making a car that's fantastic to drive every day, but it's also spirited when you want to put the foot down.
And with 180 kilowatts and 370 newton meters on tap, you'll be putting your foot down frequently. You needn't worry that you won't make it to the next service station, however. Mercedes claims a combined fuel consumption of 6.8 litres per 100 kilometers.
But it's not all perfect in the C-Class coupé. Disappointed by the amount of noise in the car from the mirrors. And I'm not talking about driving at 180 k's an hour. This is at regular speeds on a national road. It's noticeable in the cabin, but the mirrors aren't the only things that were making a bit of noise. The engine, it's not all cosseting and comfortable inside the cabin. It tends to get a bit of an irritating drone, especially in Sport Plus mode.
Were it not for the coupe's eye-catching exterior, we could have forgiven the C-Class's designers for producing a cabin that is all but a carbon copy of the sedans. That is not to say that it's displeasing to the eye, and in all fairness, BMW is as guilty of plagiarizing their own interiors, but a couple of bespoke coupe touches wouldn't have gone amiss. There is precious little else to complain about. Everything looks and feels expensive, which of course it is. And providing you tick the right options boxes, travelling aboard the coupe will always be a gratifying experience.
Also improved, they've got the new integral sport seats, which are very comfortable, but also provide you with the right support when driving spiritedly. But as always, the big question is, how do you access any coupe? Getting in is really difficult. And have a look, even from the driver's side, they've managed to open the entrance, so accessing it is a lot easier, and there's also more space in the back. So they're bringing 5 versions of the C-Class coupe to market, starting with the C200. You're looking at about 530,000 Rand to get into that. The one we've been testing, the C300, is around the 640,000 Rand mark. And then the only diesel they're bringing is the C220, and you're looking at about 570 for that. 2 versions of the AMG, the 63 and the 63S, and they're expect to pay around 1.3 million. But don't forget, there's a lot of optional extras that get specced into these cars, so expect to pay quite a bit more for that. Yes, Ascari was flipping amazing, but at the end of the day, a racetrack isn't a real test of a car's ability. You need to be driving it on roads like we've been on with the C300, and we found the perfect road. Literally 90 kilometers, winding its way through the mountains, linking one Andalusian village to the next. An incredibly dynamic environment, perfect to test a car. And that's where I was really impressed with that C300. Through the twisty bends, the steering feel was good. The car was so dynamic from a handling perspective. I guess if you think about it, a 2-litre turbo with 180 kilowatts and 370 Newton meters, do you really need any more? You probably don't. The fact that you can also adapt your drive from comfort to sporty is going to allow you to bring out both personalities in the car. So as good as the drive was, I think the thing that's going to sell people the most is just how incredibly beautiful it is to look at.